10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Hello, my friends in Sasquatch land. Double Shot Tuesday here, and we got the guys from Bronxville Paranormal backstage as we talk. Tonight's topic is going to be high strangeness, Sasquatch or paranormal. A lot of this going on in the field these days. A lot of strange stories, recordings coming out, voices being heard, and these guys have been around it for years. It's not new to them, and that's why they're here backstage right now. I'd like to say hello to Mr. BF Bud and Angie are in the house tonight. Hi guys, how's everything in your neck of the woods? Of course, the lovely blue-eyed northern is with us, and the lovely boots on the ground with Barb is with us tonight. Mr. Michael Morgan is in the house. He says, hello Chris, just sitting here with this cool water bottle you sent me full of Pepsi Zero. Well, about time that water bottle got there, and it took about 3 years for you to get it because they kept on holding it at the post office for some reason. But I am glad you finally received it. You were the winner of the contest way long time ago. I'm very happy you got it. Hello, Flat Rock is in the house. Everybody's starting to pile in. It's going to be a good show tonight. A lot of good information for everybody who wants to know about the high strangeness. Are the Sasquatch attracted to high strangeness areas? What else lingers in these areas? So without further ado, we're going to bring out the boys from the Bronxville Paranormal Society. They should have like an entrance song, like a Stone Cold Steve Austin or somebody. But here they are, Mr. Bryan Bowden and Mr. Alfred Santariga.
How you doing, Chris?
Hello. Thank you.
Hello, fellas. Hello. How are you guys tonight?
Good.
Oh, I'm hanging in there. Good.
Good. Glad to have you guys here tonight.
Looking forward to it, actually.
I wouldn't have anybody else on this program tonight with this title than the two that I have sitting in front of me right now. Again, they have 175 years experience together. and Brian's got 453 podcasts.
Yes, that's a Dave Scottism.
454 now.
He's 454.
Got a new one, yeah.
Welcome, you guys.
No, not yet. I'm working on it.
Welcome. I'm glad to have you guys here. And well, of course, I am only teasing. These guys are awesome. And so let's get on with the show. So I haven't experienced this for a long time. I've only been doing this for 7 years. Well, we're finding in the woods, since we've been bringing these meters in the woods and stuff with us, is getting the radio frequency readings and having stuff thrown at us. And now we're finding voices on our phones, and we're getting voices on our recorders, and a lot of strange stuff is going on. Well, I don't know how to phrase it. Let's start at the beginning. When did each of you guys figure out what's going on with the high strangeness?
Al?
From day one, when we went out, from the very first time we went as a collective unit, group out into the woods, we always incorporated the paranormal equipment into our investigations because we do everything. So we have this equipment, we might as well use it and see what transpires. And the very first time, I remember we got a hit on an EMF meter in the middle of the woods, 4 miles deep in the middle of the woods with no power lines around us. Blew my mind, and then from there on, it just skyrocketed.
It's funny. I've been very familiar, actually, with the woods where you are, Chris. You know that. I mean, I have a history in your area. I love the woods. I'm not afraid of the woods whatsoever. That was that younger side, naive side of it. But we all know that and we've said it. Al said it in on interviews. I've said it. We say it together. We protect ourselves before we go into any woods, going and coming, because there are things there that you can't see that exist. And we're not just talking about cryptids. We're talking about other things that are there. You don't know who passed away there. You don't know who's been doing some, nasty stuff, trying to kill people or rob, whatever. So we've always known this. And I think a byproduct of what we've been able to, come up with is some of that remnants of what's going on. There's your paranormal side, but there's also, in my opinion, a physics side to it, and that's a quantum physics side to it. There are portals that do appear, and it depends on, there's a lot of factors. We couldn't pin it down, because if we could, we'd be making a lot of money. We would know exactly where the portal's going to open up. But there are instances where we've been in the woods a couple of times, and all of a sudden this weird wind comes out of nowhere, and you hear it. It's like, shh, it's like, where is this coming from? And then things start to happen. And it didn't register at the time with us, a lot of times, but now we pay attention to every environmental factor.
Right. And quantum physics is not that far away from being had in modern day society. Albert Einstein was right onto it. He was onto it. Computers are going to go quantum, but gamma rays, I mean, it's coming. And are these, is the high strangeness due to the waves? Is the high strangeness areas are due to the frequencies? Are they, what do you guys think? What do you guys think the high strangeness areas are filled with? Why do you think they're attracted? Spirits, or we'll go with spirits first. Why are spirits attracted to these certain areas? I know if you die there, you might have to have your residual. Is that how do you say it? Residual. I don't know.
Energy, yeah.
Residual energy.
Just my take. There's so many different factors, but every day we get hit by some coronal mass ejection of some sort, be it minor, miniature, or a major storm, solar storm. That's pure, it's energy coming our way. And then it hits the ionosphere, and then it charges up certain areas. You have certain areas in your neck of the woods, and we have them in our neck of the woods, filled with quartz, which acts like a battery, right? You can charge a battery up, and then these entities that are on the paranormal spirit side love that energy because it gives them the ability to manifest or do physical things. But you're also talking about something that creates portals. You have the right elements within the ground or the structure, or, you go into woods and you don't know if the government was in there doing some crazy, maneuvers, and they release something, or, whatever. It could be a variety of these things, but I think that's it. It's the elements that are there, and then the opportunities that come through different types of energy that come in waves, or residual type of people kicking up the dirt and releasing some kind of radioactive material, even on a minute scale.
Now, you guys were talking about, the other things that are in the woods, that are in the forest. I think Scott Carpenter just came out with a video, and my buddy Chris Connor talks about it all the time, the hitchhiker effect, with something piggybacking home. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about that? Let people know, because this stuff is important, because I've had it happen. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to people and say it doesn't happen. It's happened.
Well, I always say in all of my interviews, whenever I'm talking to anybody privately, I always say, if you're going out into the environment, protect yourself spiritually and physically, because you don't know what you're walking into. Now, it's a combination of all kinds of things. Like Brian said, it's environmental combination, the quartz, the ley lines, just the energy of the earth, the solar flares, the radio waves, the microwaves bouncing off of towers. All of this stuff is, of course, we don't see it. It's not that it's not out there. It's like turning on a transistor radio and just turning it on and going from channel to channel to channel and picking up all these different radio stations. That's what all this energy is out there, and you're walking into it. And on top of that, you're walking into, you know, what I always tell everybody is, remember, this planet was all woods one time. There were no cities, there were no towns, there was no nothing. So people who were living in these woods, you don't know what they practiced. You know, you don't know what they've been practicing in those woods. You don't know what they conjured up in those woods. That's why Native Americans had sacred sites. That's why Native Americans had places that they didn't venture into, you know, because they could feel the difference in the energies. And it's all about energy, frequency, vibration. It's a combination of everything.
Yeah.
I tried to explain to you all the different environmental readings that we take when we go out. I got like 26 pieces of equipment I take with me, and each one does like 5 things. So you get all of these readings, right? And then you got to go through all of that data and check it out. And then you go back again and you try to recreate it over and over and over again to try to do like some kind of scientific experiment where you can create that data over and over. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. We have no control over that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in a situation once where we went up to I think Nina Mountain or something like that, and we were checking out some of the stone chambers that were there. And they have a history there, and I don't think it relates back to Native Americans. I think it's a lot more deeper than that, contrary to some people in their books that come out. But we were just there. We didn't, you know, we do our normal sage. You know, we'll do sage, we'll say prayers, our fathers, a traveling prayer. Al will anoint me, you know, we'll do the holy oil or holy water, whatever. But when we're there, I remember when we were sitting there, we're talking, there's nobody around us. We're in a small, kind of tight space, and we're asking questions. And it's like, are you Egyptian? Are you Druids? Are you know, whatever? And then we hit Phoenicians, and the thing lights up, right? As soon as we get to the Phoenicians on that side, and it just starts lighting up. And, you know, you don't know what's making its presence known there. Just like there's plenty of people, stories where, you know, you walk into the woods, right? And, you know, nice Sunday stroll, you do some hiking or whatever. Someone comes home and then all of a sudden you fight when you get home. Or I've seen that before with people. I know people have gone out, really nice family. They've gone in the woods. They started fighting when they got home, and things just started taking a little downturn. I'm like, what's going on? And it's like, I don't know. You know, it just, as soon as we got home, it was just like, you know, crazy. I said, okay, do me a favor. You know, sage yourself, sage the house, sage, get everybody outside, sage them, you know, get some holy water, or holy oil, put it on everybody and sage that house. And really, you know, they don't want to believe it. I said, trust me, do it. You do what I'm telling you to do. And they did it. And it was night and day. He goes, how'd you know that? I said, you picked some stuff up when you were in the woods. You had that right energy individually. We all are made of energy. There's electricity in these bodies. This is why they're going to be able to take computer parts and implant them in humans. I'm not doing it, but, you know, I don't need that crap. But your energy attracts other energy. And when you have kids, forget it. Both male and female children will attract energy, grandchildren included, for those people that have them. But females attract even more because they use 2 hemispheres. And they're like little beacons of light in a sea of black. I call that ether, the goblin universe, where people go to heaven or they get stuck there and all the magic happens.
Yeah, and I could tell you from experience, I've had hitchhikers attached to me.
Yes, yes.
Brian, we went to a cemetery one time, thinking it was going to be a normal cemetery, but it was far from normal. It was in the middle of the woods. We didn't know it was going to be in the woods. We thought it was going to be in town, and I felt strange. And we had walked through the woods. There was a lot of woods in the cemetery. It was nothing but woods. And we walked through the woods, and then I was feeling weird, you know? And Brian's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, nothing. And he's like, yeah, no, there's something wrong with you. And I'm like, I'm trying to deny it. I'm like, no, because how the hell does he know there's something wrong with me? I can feel that I'm not right. And he's like, you don't even look. He goes, you don't sound like yourself. And I'm like, well, who would I sound like? And he goes, well, you don't look like it. So what the hell do I look like, you know? And then just, you know, over the course of the night, when we left, whatever it was, I forgot at one point, we left to go get dinner and we were coming back to do, so we were doing a day-night thing.
Right.
And when we left to go get dinner at the diner, that's when it detached from me. So then, but when we went in the second time, we went in with a little bit more protection than what we did the first time, because we don't know what attached to me. You know, I don't think it was anything dark or negative. Something's just attracted to my energy. And I've had this happen to me on more than one occasion. I'm lucky enough I never bring anything home. And I go above and beyond the call of duty when it comes to protecting myself. But now I even have to take it up another notch because of my ascension. I have to take it up another notch where I'm dealing with all kinds of stones, all kinds of different kinds of stones for different things. You know, I'm like walking around the woods with 100 pounds of rocks in my pocket now because, you know, you need all this protection and you don't know what's going to. I was very lucky. Every time something attached to me, there was never anything negative, you know, and I was always with people who recognized it. And for one way or the other, were able to detach it from me, whether doing an actual ceremony to get it off or just it detached it when we left the area. Never brought anything home. But like you were saying, hitchhikers, they're out there, and they come in all sizes and colors, and all. And some are happy hitchhikers, and some aren't happy.
Nasty.
Yeah.
I gotta be very especially careful because Al has kids too, but they're older, and one of which is a non-believer, although he locks his closet. but I got younger kids, and they're very more receptive to this type of stuff because they're open, they're beacons, you know. So I'm very very vigilant about doing some more sage around me, even inhaling sage. I mean, I've inhaled sage. I've been multiple. It's in a lot of these American Spirit cigarettes or whatever, that they have sage in it as well. But one of the things I do when I get home is, it's crazy. It's a ritual. I take everything off. Sorry for the visual, folks. And I put it all in a plastic bag. Seriously, I tie it up, and then I hop in the shower. And the process of the running water is actually going to get rid of anything bad there. It's just going to go from that water is that life source. It's going down through my body from the head chakra all the way down into the bottom of your body and out that drain. And then after that's over, just to cover my butt, I sprinkle salt in the tub. After it's drained out. My wife's like, "Who the hell keeps putting salt in my stuff?" I'm like, "That's me." But you gotta take precautions. But getting back to this whole field, see, you got that paranormal ghost hunting side, right? This episode of Ghost Hunters, but there's also on the cryptid side of it. And I think, you showed a video, and I don't want to jump ahead, but you showed me a video not that long ago. It was night vision, I believe it was.
Yeah, we got to keep that to a low, though. No names or anything. But we can talk about it.
No. But I've seen that. But I've seen things before like that, where people on the video, you see it's normal stuff, and then you catch somebody going like peeking in. One of the videos we put up, again, another stone chamber. It just happens to be an attractive area. Al went out to get like a portal or something not a portal. Al went out to get a thermometer.
Yeah, a thermal thermometer. Yeah.
So we had it set. We started
Digital.
running. Yeah, we were doing Tibetan singing bowls. We love those. Those help to just raise the vibration in the area, charge it up. And I had a FLIR in my hand, one of those camera FLIRs. I'm not Rockefeller, so I can't afford the good stuff. The $3,000 to $10,000 FLIRs. But I'm filming in this, and it's normal. It's it's cooler inside. You can see how hot it is on the outside of this, but it's still cooler. We're in a underground type of cellar type of thing, but you can see the streets. Yes.
Don't forget to mention we did radiation. We had a Geiger counter with us, and
Yes.
we measured the radiation before we got started.
Right. And it
And we
was
measured the
fine
radiation after we were done.
So one of the things he did, so Al says, you know what, I'm going to go get a temperature gauge because he forgot. It was one thing he forgot. And he wasn't parked that far away. And he came back in. And as he came out, I started playing around with, again, Tibetan symbols, getting that tone and their vibration out there. And what you see on the video is you see this, it starts getting cooler. And almost like a circle starts forming. And then on the outside of that circle, it gets black. So that is the coldest portion of it. Okay. And at one point in the video, you'll hear it. It's on our BPS YouTube, Bronxville Paranormal Society YouTube video page. I forgot which one it is. It's one of the, you'll see it. It looks like a flare. You'll hear me go, did you see that? Someone just peeked in. And someone, you can kind of see it go, just peek in and then come back out. But what's very interesting about what we did, and this was years prior to Skinwalker Ranch, which was last season when they brought the rabbi guy in and he opened the portal, exact coloration to the T and everything that, because Al was telling you, the Geiger counter went off the chart at that point.
Something we probably shouldn't have been in there at one point. We kind of stuck it or stuck around. I have a tendency of wanting to hang around longer just to see, like I have a feeling if something else is going to happen, you know. And it's funny because I was just at a symposium a couple of weeks before that, and I had met David Roundtree, who's an electrical engineer, and I was picking his brain, and he was saying, well, when portals open up, the radiation level goes through the roof, and that's how you know you've opened up a portal. And that's exactly what happened in that chamber that day. It just opened. The radiation level went from ground level radiation, which was almost nothing, to through the roof. Through the roof, and it was pretty amazing to experience that firsthand. You know, feeling that energy. I mean, it just engulfs you, and your whole body starts to tingle. You know, and we're lucky we didn't disappear and go into a different dimension. But,
that would have sucked. Yeah, that would have been bad.
So it's all environmental. It's all it's a combination of everything that's on this planet and outside this planet. Everything that affects us has something to do with the environmental readings that you get, and that all coincides. And all these chambers, all these ancient stone chambers that nobody knows who's built, are all built on ley lines. You know, every single one of them. So
some are mapped to some celestial bodies as well.
Yes. Oh, and what I did want to mention was when Brian said everything went ice cold in the thing. I took the level. I went in there with the digital thermometer to see what the temperature was, and every single chamber that we went into that day, whether it was in the woods, under tree canopy, or on the side of the road in the sun, every single one was 68 degrees inside.
Yep.
So that thing went ice cold. It went black.
But getting back to just to, get off some of the stuff from what Al was telling you about Roundtree, some of the effects of radiation or byproducts can be radio frequencies. There are frequencies within it. So when, and it reminds me of you going to Florida and you picking up that crazy stuff going on there, you and Chris, and you get frequency hits. And then, look, no one can that I'm aware of in this, civilian life world goes interdimensional. No one does. It's all speculation. But it is a theory to the interdimensional part where a portal opens is a byproduct of radioactive. So, you got to use a Geiger counter, but that also could be, radio waves, radio frequency coming from that as well. And we're not just talking about some huge Sasquatch coming through. There are minuscule little things in the woods. I think I may have showed the picture at one point. We went back up to that mountain during this 2 years of craziness just to get some exercise. So I took my wife and my two daughters, and I had my camera. And I turned to my youngest and said, hey, smile. And she did her typical pose. She's 10 years old, you know, she's going to pose. And I took the picture of it, and then I looked at the picture, and on her hand was this bright yellow and golden yellow thing. So I zoomed in it, and then I downloaded the photo to my phone, and I zoomed in it, and my hand to God, it looks like a fairy.
Yeah, it does, Chris. It looks like a fairy.
100%.
It's just so
right on her
strange. It's not a light anomaly from the light coming. It's not a flare lens.
Nope. Lens flare. It was not a lens flare. It wasn't a bounce off of my lens. You know, this shouldn't be there. It has shape and form.
It's so strange. Yes, it has shape and form and color. It has, you know, it's golden and it's yellow and it's got like black legs.
You just had a gold light blinking back of your head. I don't know if anybody else seen that when they were just talking about that.
That happens all the time. But
it looked like a firefly. No, to your right.
See that mirror right there?
Yeah.
Everything comes out of that mirror.
But it blinked right back your light. As soon as you said a gold flash, that thing right in back of your head just went bloop.
Really blinks. Like, wow. Normally it's just orbs that fly by, but I never seen
this
that. I'll have to watch this tomorrow and see what it was.
Oh, we're gonna look back on it.
Yeah, that's mark the spot because that was, if anybody noticed, I don't know if you guys are checking out Al at that moment in time, but it was a bright flash like a little lightning bug.
Well, wow. This is another thing that happens when Al and I, either together or separately, we do interviews with people, and this is pre all this video. Without question, if you listen to that video back, you're going to get EVPs on it.
That is always EVPs.
God, always EVPs, always strange stuff. Matter of fact, where I'm sitting right now, because I have a small place, I got relegated to my kitchen. Okay, don't have a big place to do this. So behind me right now is a window. I'm 7 stories up in an apartment. There's literally no more than 2 feet. There's nothing behind me. Okay. I was doing a round table with 3 people I know that wasn't being videotaped. It was just getting the audio from it. And one of the persons there is a psychic. Her name is Katie Turner. Great psychic. She's been on TV, but she
world renowned.
Unbelievable. Like what she comes up with, which is great. You should actually get her on your show.
World renowned.
Yeah. And we're sitting there, we're talking. So I have this thing up, the background up, and she goes, when she's looking, she's getting as close to her computer or phone as she can. And I noticed it. And at the end of it, I'm like, what the hell did you see? She goes, oh, you noticed that? I'm like, I could not notice it. She goes, you had some kind of really weird gray alien pop through on the back behind you. So I said, a gray alien. I go, what did it look like? I don't know. It was really weird. It had a long face. So I go through. I got tons of alien photos, legitimate ones. I go, it was this? Because I had that idea in my head. I had an alien imprint in my brain at that point. I'd never said anything to anybody. I sent her a picture of a tall gray. She goes, oh my God, that's it. I'm like, yep. Right behind me, 7 stories up. So this happening with Al with like Tinkerbell over his head or whatever. This is what happens in the woods too.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So if we're talking about it and we're here in our homes and it happens, just imagine what happens when we go out into the woods and there's other environmentals there. Then
you're actually trying to create these portals. So you're using all these environmental readings and you're using frequency and vibration and sound waves and light waves, and you're just throwing everything out, you know, and if it's already conducive to that environment, you know, this is a place of high strangeness, and you add all this extra high strangeness to it, God only knows what's going to happen that night, you know?
So Chris, you go out in the woods and you have a relationship with, it's in different spots with what you have there. As far as, I'm a Sasquatch Bigfoot, okay? And there's a rapport there. You whistle, it knows it's you. There's some kind of interaction that goes on with you. You've crafted this relationship over years. Al and I have crafted a relationship, you know, together in certain spots. Al has done it singularly. I have a couple of locations that I've been, you know, playing around with, trying to craft some kind of relationship. with whatever's in there. I'm praying it's a Sasquatch, it's not like a, you know, like a hobo or something like that. You know, you know, you never know these days, right? But so what happens is you're with everything in life being frequency, vibration, consciousness, sound, frequency, vibration, consciousness, which I'm hearing these like sounds actually on this. Check your audio when you
Yeah, I heard
do
that
this
too.
again. Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot throughout.
Yeah,
the
me too.
broadcast.
I didn't say anything though.
Yeah, I didn't say
Yeah.
anything, but I've been hearing it. So what happens is you're more aware. So what happens is your frequency that used to be here is now here. You're vibrating at a higher frequency, and the more you vibrate higher and higher and higher, the more of a ascended being you become. You becoming one with really what's really the center of this universe and the end all be all. You call it the Akashic record, you could call it interdimensional, you call it whatever you want. This is what these beings, from Sasquatch, Bigfoot to Dogman to aliens, whatever, are at this point. They're so resonating higher. So, you know, as you resonate higher and you're in the woods and you're higher and you've given off this frequency, right? And you're using your meters and you're just trying to figure out what's going on. It's kind of like that. They did an episode of Star Trek. It was a movie where they first go and discover warp speed. And all these aliens are paying attention to their progress. And once they get to the warp speed, then they land the ship and say, "We're aliens. Welcome to the Federation." You know, they bring you in. That's what I think is happening right now. I think a lot more people are vibrating, unbeknownst to them, at a higher frequency. We're in this age of Aquarius where we're opening up the third eye right here. And, you know, it's just, this is what's aiding into the portals. And these beings that live in these interdimensional portals or aliens are taking notice, saying the Cro-Magnon men that we thought they were in Earth are now, you know, developing. And I think this is what's happening, and why we're getting a lot more of these readings. That door is being opened up.
But you could also vibrate at a lower level, and then you can get like dark stuff coming through. Yep. You know what I mean? Yeah. Creatures that vibrate at lower levels, and it's all about your intent when you're out there as well. So if you're a person with ill intent and you go out to do an investigation and you have ill intent in your mind and you happen to be lucky enough to create a portal and or a vortex or whatever you want to call it, and something dark comes through, because that's your intent. It's what you're looking for. So you got exactly what you. So they always say, be careful what you wish for. Yeah. You know, because they're not all fairies and lollipops. I mean, so there's some dark stuff that can come through from different realms, and
that seems to dwell further.
If you think that this stuff isn't out there, if you don't believe in this stuff, then you haven't spent enough time in the woods.
Yeah.
Well, this is where you get the high strangeness areas. Is I'm out in the woods for 7 years. I can go to my woods, and there are certain spots in that woods where I get the interactions. It's not everywhere. It's not everywhere along the trail where I'm going to get those interactions. It's going to be at that tree that we visit all the time, that they come and knock on the tree there. It's where we leave peanut butter jar or whatever, we get interaction here. These are the areas of high, or I guess you could call them high strangeness. Why is everything attracted to these areas? Well, what's is it the energy that Sasquatch is attracted to, or they just know these areas? You know what I mean? I don't know how to correlate the two together, and I think there's a little correlation there. I don't know. I
think everything is attracted to energy at certain frequencies. So if you're in a location of high strangeness and you have a lot of different things coming in, then everything that's coming in at that location is vibrating at that frequency. You know what I mean? If you're not going to get something that's vibrating at a lower frequency to come through something like that. You know what I mean? It can't get there, you know?
Right.
But there's everything everything goes into effect. Everything counts. Everything you see around you, everything out in the woods is alive. You know what I mean? It's all giving off electromagnetic pulses. The earth is alive. Everything is alive.
Yeah, you got to think of also, because we can't see it, but what's below you? How much quartz is below you? How much other type of stone is below you?
Right,
What's the
limestone.
storage factor? And the reason why I'm saying this is my theory, because I changed from physical flesh and bones, Gigantopithecus, into interdimensional Sasquatch Bigfoot after I had experienced it. Okay. But I've also then started, it allowed me to see other things. I've been privy to photos, and Al's seen them. I think you've probably seen them too, where you get instances where you have a Sasquatch sighting, and the next thing you know, it kind of like on a FLIR. Actually, Expedition Bigfoot is a great example of this. They got a FLIR of a Sasquatch, and it's fairly big, or some creature there that has given off a ton of heat, and then little by little, it kind of dissipates. It goes to these little balls. Then it's done, right? Well, I don't think it's just going in the woods and disappearing. I think what's happening is it has the ability, an innate ability. I can't explain it, but it does. It's explained through quantum physics, to go from the physical body right here, flesh and blood, to transform your body into some kind of using electrons and atoms and whatever into pulses of light,
pure energy. Yeah,
energy, which then transfers into the interdimensional.
that's I think
Yeah.
another reason why a lot. I'm sorry, Brian, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think
No,
that's
no.
another reason why a lot of people see these balls of light,
Exactly.
either before they see Bigfoot or after. They see Bigfoot. Yeah, and
yeah,
everybody associates them with aliens, but
yeah, and then they say, "Oh, Bigfoot's aliens, pet." No, it's not that. What you're catching, but you're not, because it shouldn't be. We haven't been taught this, but this is what takes place when energy transforms, even in the physics world. This is a byproduct. It's a spark. It's people say like a quick light, a blue light, and then all of a sudden you hear like a tree knock or whatever. It's when energy transfers from one form to another. There is always a pop byproduct of it, and that's what you're catching. So maybe these, and in order to transform energy, you actually need more energy to make the transformation than if you just stayed in its constant state, right? So maybe they're using these locations because the minerals are right. There's batteries, like quartz is a known battery conductor or electric, like source of energy, and they know to go to that, and they can transform like that. It's just innate. I mean, I can't explain it because I don't have a Bigfoot. No one does that I know of.
And then
who knows?
you add like a quartz, underground quartz, right?
Yep.
And then you add an underground stream flowing up
Yep.
below it, and you have
There
all
you
this
go.
water and all this energy, and it's creating a battery effect. And then that stuff is just radiating out through the ground, right? So you're just putting all this energy out there.
Yeah. So when you go there and you feel it, it's the equivalent of taking a 9-volt battery and sticking it to your tongue. That's just that's the byproduct of it. When you stick it to your tongue, that hurts. Like an idiot. You're just feeling the 9-volt battery throughout your whole entire body. And the Sasquatch love it because they know that even if they ran right up to you full body in an instant, they could disappear. You'd be like, what the hell just happened? You wouldn't even, it wouldn't, by the time it registered, you'd be like, where did it go?
Right. You hear that all the time. You hear that in a lot of reports that they go give chase and all of a sudden they're gone.
Yep.
Oh yeah, all the time. Absolutely.
Again, I don't want to point to Expedition Bigfoot, but in episode 1 or 2, whatever it was, it's an okay show. I'll just leave it at that. They're using some night, like some cameras at night, and they go, nothing there. Oh, on the deer, the game cameras. Oh, nothing there. I'm like, are you kidding me? You have something there. They just don't really focus in. There was a black mass there that wasn't there before in the other picture, and then the next picture was gone. last time I checked, that has to be the effect of something. And that very well could be the shadow effect that Bigfoot can do, where they can change their physical shape. They could put up these walls. I thought it was an infrasound initially, but it's more than that. And science today is proving that it can be done. Everything I'm saying has been proven to be a fact in physics. So what's to say an animal can't do it?
Right.
I mean, well, because you know what the argument is going to be. There's no known animal on the planet that can do it. So how is it possible for something to be able to do it? That's. I'm telling you that I hear that argument all the time.
And my argument back to them is, well, explain the octopus that can change its physical shape, its texture, its color to whatever the hell it wants.
No, I agree with you 100%. Absolutely.
They have other animals like chameleons can kind of do it, but an octopus will physically make their body into the shape of something else in an instant. They're that,
Yeah, no, I agree. But I mean, I now I'm hearing there's a lot of talk on the internet now. All the the podcasts. I'm listening to a lot of podcasts, and now that I'm retired, and there's a lot of talk about the mind speak, right? I hate that terminology. Let's call it mental telepathy because that's what it really is. But for lack of argument, they're saying, well, if you're getting mind speak, well, how do you know it's a Bigfoot talking to you? How do you know it's not a demon? How do you know it's what you think is a Bigfoot is not a demon pretending to be a Bigfoot? Because that's what you want to see. So, and I'm like, not everything is a demon. You know what I mean? Not everything is a demon. And if you're in a location like you or me or Brian, that we've created this familiarity with the creatures, and they know who we are, right? And I believe they recognize us from our auras. I think they can see our auras, and they know who we are, right? Oh, there's a peanut butter guy. You know what I mean? And they let you see them. You have a visual, and you're looking at them, and then you get a communication. To me, that's a legitimate communication because you're basically a family member to this creature because it's allowing you there. And it's allowing, first of all, it takes a lot for them to allow you to come into their territory, number one. It takes years of getting that. Then number two, when they actually start showing themselves to you, that's you're taking leaps and bounds there, okay? And then if they start actually communicating with you, and I don't mean through whistles and knocks and rocks and stuff like that, because we've all had that happen to us, right? But if they start communicating with you through mental telepathy, and you know what you're looking at, what you're talking, you've seen this same creature for the last 10 years. That's the big boy, whatever you want to call him, right? And then why in this circumstance would it be a demon? You know what I mean? That's my argument.
Yeah, on top of that, it's the current trend of everything being a demon or demonic or the Nephilim. That's another one too. Whatever.
Yes.
It's the same thing as she's a witch. It's literally the current version of the Salem witch trials. She's a witch. Here's a fun fact that besides I don't care. The demons don't fuck around. Demons do not screw around, and demons aren't going to play games with you. Like, hey, I'm like a mind speak. They don't.
And if they do, they're gonna tell you that
and it's gonna be like this.
You know what I mean? They're going to find your most intimate fear and show themselves to you that way to scare the living shit out of you, so they can feed off of that energy. And,
Chris,
go ahead, Brian.
You had one over in where you were doing your thing, and it sounded like a wounded dog, right?
Yep.
That's not a Bigfoot, or Dogman plays around like that, but that's more, in my opinion, more on that darker side. They're
Yeah, we were being lured in. Whatever
Yep.
it was luring us. And then it threw a stone right at us when we got back out to the road.
Well,
I mean, whatever
Because
it
it
was
was pissed
strong
that
enough
you
to
caught on to. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, we turned around. It was dark, and I look at the hair on my arm is sticking straight up. That was like when I first started, and I always saw flesh and blood. These guys are flesh and blood, and I
Flesh
never
and
even
blood.
never thought twice about it again.
Flesh
Yep.
and blood,
But
absolutely.
now after Florida and all the stuff that's going on, and I'm starting to, we data can't be logged. This can't be
Right.
logged.
No,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? We can log all the meter readings, Geiger counters. I watched that Skinwalker Ranch when that rabbi opened up that portal. That was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
That
We
was
did
right
that
on
10 years
TV.
earlier.
Yeah, we
Right
did 10
on-
years earlier.
Right on TV. You seen it open.
Yeah.
Yep.
Chris was
So-
playing that when we were down in the swamp. He was
Here's
playing
another.
the rabbi doing that
Yeah.
recording, and his sister made him turn it off.
That's your. See, I think all of us researchers had the same idea in mind. Okay, but you don't know what you're looking at, and you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
It's kind of like that scene in Indiana Jones, where they're going to open up the telephone to God, but they don't realize what they're doing. And Indiana Jones is like, look away from him, Marion. You don't know what you're opening or allowing out there.
Don't mess with something you don't know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Something a good friend of Al and mine, who's like a sister to me, Miss Aida. She's a practitioner born and raised into hoodoo and Palo and Santeria and what have you. She called me up one day. She goes, "I'm getting you a bracelet. You and Al bracelets." I'm like, "What?" So, and I've heard about it, but she really got deep in it. So I have it in my hand. It is an iron bracelet. I bought it off of Etsy. Okay, it cost me like $12. When you go out in the woods, Chris, when you go out and do anything paranormal, you want to wear iron on your left hand. Okay, your left wrist. Doesn't matter if you have a watch there. For some reason, this goes back millennium to the beginning, to the Bible, to when God created the earth and everything. Everybody, exorcists actually will wear iron on their left wrist. And there's a reason for it, because it's my right hand. We shake with our right hands, right? It's a good energy. You don't do things with your left hand because it draws it into your body. So the left hand is protected with the iron because it's a pure form of metal, preventing evil or harmful things from getting inside you. And it's something you can keep on. It's not bad. You can keep it on all the time if you want. I prefer to use it when we go on an investigation. And let me tell you something, noticeable difference where you get the experience, but you're not taking that bad side home with you.
Yeah.
I don't want the paranormal. I don't want to experience
You know what, Chris?
the paranormal.
It doesn't matter whether you want it or not. When you go out squatching, whether you're in your area up in the woods or down in Florida in the swamps, it's there. It's part of the environment. It's part of the universe. It's there. And by Chris doing that prayer that the rabbi was doing, God only knows what was opening up. You know what I mean? So
was that the one where you guys got your phones all jacked up?
Yeah, but he only played it for like 30 seconds, and his sister freaked out and said, "Don't be playing that portal stuff. I don't know portals going on." It was like,
I'll let you in on a little secret. All you have to put it in is for a little bit, and you can still get pregnant.
But
just think of it that way.
But
everything that happened down there happened before that, or maybe not.
It doesn't matter where you go. This stuff is everywhere. There are certain locations where the energy is higher. You know, the places we call of high strangeness. But even in other locations that are not of high strangeness, you can create a portal if you use the right tools. You know, all of this stuff we work with are all tools. They're all tools in our toolbox, and you know, and it's all about your intent and what you're looking to create and what you're looking to find. And it's all out there. It doesn't matter if you're not going there looking for it. It doesn't mean that it's not looking for you. You walk in the woods and it sees your aura, and it's there. That's its domain, whatever that entity is, and it sees your aura and it says, "Oh, I like that." Boom, and it just comes to you, boom, and before you know it, you're not yourself. Like Brian with me, I wasn't myself, and so
that
you have
crazy grin.
you have to protect yourself. It doesn't matter whether you're squatching or ghost hunting or you're a ufologist or you're sky watching. It doesn't matter. The whole universe is supernatural, and it's all there. And it's just a matter of what tools you're using and what you tap into.
Yeah.
In the Florida, in the Everglades, I spent a lot of time as a kid down in the Florida Everglades. And the Everglades, man, there's all kinds of energy in the Everglades. You know what I mean? From all of that methane gas, from all that water and that rot from the seaweed and everything else. And that place at night is spooky. I mean, that is so much scarier to me than being up in the mountains in the woods,
Yeah.
The swamp it's got a whole different vibe, A
lot more things can kill you there too.
Right.
In the middle of the night. But yeah, that's what I worry. Like when you've had a couple of issues, and I've been, Al and I was like, are you playing around too much with things? Are you protecting yourself? I think we've always said it to you, like, protect yourself. Don't take that as, hocus pocus BS. It's truth. There's a lot of truth to it, You don't want to have to find out the hard way, folks, if you're going to do it, And also, it's interesting. So I think that when you go, a lot of these cryptids or entities or beings live in an interdimensional type of plane. And I look at it as Grand Central Station or a main train station hub, right? So there's a whole bunch of different tracks, and everyone, like, one's going to Baltimore, one's going to Cleveland, one's going wherever. And you see people, and you take the train every day because you're interdimensional. You go through this portal, these gateways, and the same beings see each other all the time. I'm like, oh, what's that? Oh, that's a Bigfoot. Oh, okay. I used to do it when I go to work. I notice people, even on other trains I've never met before. You just see, oh, there's that guy that wears the funny socks all the time or whatever. So some people take interest in the train station. They look for that mark. And you may have individuals in the entity zone, that paranormal side of it, that they're waiting there and they're like, who are we going to hit? I'm like, oh, hey, those people are vibrating higher. We see them coming in. I got you. I'm going to you. So that's part of the paranormal side of it. Is there a way to quantify it? I think RF, I think the trifield meter is a must. It's expensive, but it's a must for everybody, I think. I think it's one of the better pieces of equipment to take into the field. But I think the best piece of equipment is you. This. How many times you've been in the woods, Chris, and you got into a point you were like, we got to go. Right?
Yes, that's sixth sense. Sixth sense. That's that kicks
turn around, get out of there. This is not good.
And you know it. You can't explain it. There's nothing has happened to you to that point, but if you go any further, bad things will happen, and you turn yourself around and you walk out, and you live to fight another day, and that's just our sixth sense kicking in,
Yeah, it's weird. I get you not wanting the paranormal side in this field, and what you do. I get it. It complicates things. It makes it sticky.
But the more you start playing with meters and Geiger counters and stuff like that,
sound
and light, you're just.
It just makes sense, though. It makes sense now.
It does make sense, but that's what I'm saying. You're not going to be able to avoid that other side. You know what I mean? For people who are Sasquatch researchers who just disregard anything paranormal that happens to them in the woods, they just write it off. They blow it off. They don't even want to discuss it.
Right.
They're doing themselves such an injustice.
Right. It's the same people that are.
It's a learning experience. Write it down. You know what I mean? Learn from it. It's data. It's important.
I don't want to be I'm not telling you how to do your own research.
Absolutely not.
That's your choice. I will never tell anybody the research. But I will make the statement that there are people that are flesh and blood, and there are people that are interdimensional, for lack of the term. We don't like the term woo, personally. No. It makes you feel like you're even on the specialer bus in the crazy community.
Or Ric Flair.
Yeah. Or, so, but what I always say is, if you're a flesh and blood and you throw out, you won't even listen to anything on that other side, or vice versa, then you're not doing research. A researcher is someone who takes, okay, this is where I am, and then keeps the left and the right open enough just in case. I don't believe in it, but, and then you get into an experience, you're like, and it leans towards that woo side of it, or the Ric Flair, and you're like, okay. And more comes in and more, and nothing's leading you back in your own neck of the woods. Then you become a researcher. We have too many researchers, and I know them, and they'll shut you down. They don't even want to hear it.
No, they won't even discuss it.
Yep.
They won't discuss it. And it's a shame because, it's another piece of the puzzle that they're refusing to look at.
You got to keep that information out there because you never know what's going to come up. We have this all the time. Look, I told you it's flesh and blood. It made the most logical sense until the creature went from point A to point B in a split second. That couldn't do it. You can't do it. It's freaking impossible.
And I'm telling you, the ones I've seen, whether it was a 12-year-old kid down in South Florida on the parkway sunning himself, the white one that ran behind my car, those were all flesh and blood creatures. You know what I mean? They weren't ghosts that floated across the road. Those were flesh. When they walked, the ground vibrated, boom, like elephants.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not saying that thing is not flesh and blood. By all means, it's flesh and blood, and I believe that these creatures, when they are in that flesh and blood stage, can be killed. Yep. And I believe many of them have been killed over the years. The Native Americans talk about going to war with them. You know what I mean? I'm sure the government has taken them out and nuisance animals here and there along the line, and experimented on them. But so they can be killed. So people will say, "Oh, you can't kill them." And I just okay, then you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm just not sensitive and wasting my time with you. You got a long way to go yet on the trail. You're just at the beginning of the trail. Yeah,
like Al said, when they're here, they're flesh and blood, and I think the reason why we don't find a lot of physical evidence of these things, like burial sites, is because I think they know. And it's an energy thing. It's like a light bulb. When you get a car, you got these great bright lights, and then as the years go over, it gets dimmer and yellower and dimmer and yellower. Remember that? I think the same thing happens within the spirit or the energy of the older, or the injured Sasquatch. They just know it, and I think they must tell them, you need to go. You need to go into the, go back. And they go back, and that's where they cease to exist.
Maybe they have a sacred site. They bury themselves in a different dimension or a different realm. I believe that I've found a couple of burial sites
100%
up here, but those may be far and few in between, so I don't know. I mean, I'm not actually going to go and dig them up, so God forbid.
We're definitely being watched when we're there anyhow, so that thing.
But I mean, it's just part of the journey. The paranormal is part of the journey, and the more you delve into it, and everybody, that's all I keep hearing now, is everybody's talking about all the Geiger counters and the RF meters and the EMF meters, and again, we've been there, we've done that. We're so much deeper into stuff now. I mean, it's mind-boggling. Okay, But now that you're going down that road, you're going down the right road. Believe me,
Right.
you are. You are. You're going
So,
down the right road. There's no doubt in my mind you are.
so if you
And
keep,
you're growing. You're growing as a researcher. You
Right.
know, because like you said in the beginning, you were flesh and blood, as I was, and now you've come to realize maybe it's more than flesh and blood. You know.
Right.
so do you think if you keep on returning to these areas of the high strangeness year after year after year, do you think as a person your body is absorbing more energy from these places, and that's increasing your vibration, and so more things are making themselves known to you? Is you think that's a thing?
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think
Yeah.
yes, we are raising our vibrations, and because of that, we're experiencing more things. But it also, and I don't know this because I'm not a doctor, but we also could be damaging ourselves internally. You know what I mean?
We could be causing a lot of, I mean, especially if there's radiation residuals or, even sound waves. I mean, you could use sound waves to obliterate cancer.
Yeah,
So just think
sound
about
waves,
that.
light
Yeah.
waves.
But
All of these things can kill us. You know, we're very fragile as humans. You know,
I think
so
our experiences, and when we start getting to that point where we start changing our vibration, which changes our mindset, which changes our thought process, we don't let the littler things bother us. Like my daughter has a test tomorrow. 10 years from now, she's not going to give a damn about that test. It's going to be meaningless. But
Right.
what happens when you raise your vibration is you start realizing that's not important. I don't want to say I'm better. It's not to say you're better than somebody, but you're realizing a little bit more of what's more important. Some people call it source. Some people call it spirit. I call it God. God is actually more important. And God, believe it or not, has a relationship in this and is playing a huge part in this type of frequency vibration nirvana. It's almost like they did some they showed, and I can't find I'll find the article, I'll send it to you so you can probably share it with everybody, but they've done studies of people having what they quote unquote religious experiences, right? And it changes your brain waves, it changes your everything, your energy, your output, your input, and it's almost like it's more than endorphins, it's beyond endorphins. That's what happens when you vibrate a higher frequency, and I think you just know it when you're there. You can walk through a place. This is funny. There's a road. I think it's 301 or 302 up in upstate New York. It's right near Patterson now. Is that
yeah,
301 or
301, I
302?
believe. Yeah.
301. Okay. Very weird road because I've been down that many, many times. That friend lived on it. And it's just, there's a feeling you get on that road. There's an energy to it. It's very interesting that at the end of that road at one point, closer to 84, they found the decapitated body of a victim from a serial killing. They specifically used to leave it there. But I used to take that road off of 84 going east to get to my friend's house. And there's one spot where there's a one-lane bridge. And we would drive it. And every time I drove it, my wife was like, oh, I don't like this. She would tense up, whatever. So I said, at one time we're driving there, she's out like a light, out cold. And I'm like, good, I don't have to deal with this. I'm telling you, the minute I pulled into there, she woke up. Where are we? Where are we? Freaked out, and we got through the bridge. She goes, did we go through the bridge yet? I'm like, yeah, we just did. She woke up at that point. She was feeling something there. You can feel that energy, a little bit more palpable.
Right.
She like really felt it.
And let me tell you what else is crazy about this road, Chris. A lot of the stone chambers are built down this road.
Yep.
Okay. Either side of the roadway, they're built, and in between the stone chambers is a giant Chinese was it what the monks build those remember we went there? What was that place?
A monastery.
And right down the road from that is a Roman Catholic monastery. I mean, so these religions built on here as well. So maybe they knew something that the ordinary people don't know. Maybe they feel something there. Maybe that's why those stone chambers were built there. I mean, there's a reason why all of this stuff is built right along this one stretch of road. I mean, we're talking about woods everywhere. You could build a monastery in the middle of the woods anywhere, but it's on that road with those stone chambers, along with the Roman Catholic monastery. I mean, and you got to see these things. These things are humongous. They're mind-boggling when you go in. And we went in and we took pictures, and it was great. We explored them, you know, and it's just the energy when you go inside is different. It's
so different. They knew.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah.
And now that Al has a new hairstyle, we'd probably get in for free. Buddha. Oh, it's Buddha. It's Buddha. But what's very interesting also is down that road towards, you know, when you get towards the Taconic Parkway, we used to do for the New York State UFO project. We do live meetings in Yonkers, New York, and then upstate in Red Hook, right? So I drive to Al's place. Al would take me from there up there. He'd share that drive. I'd come back late, right? I remember it happened a couple of times. Every time I leave Al's house, I'm just like, it's not just the deer. It's like, what the hell is it? You know, I know something's going to appear. I just get this feeling. And I'm coming down the road, close to that road, 301. And what do I see in the sky? Huge triangle aircraft. It's a UFO, and it has a beam down on the ground. I'm like, I'm getting off of this road. You know, I get off the road, and I'm looking for it. It was right there. It's gone. So something's drawing them to that line.
And there's also a giant state park there that has chambers in them, that have Bigfoot sightings in them, Dogman sightings in them, UFOs coming in and out of the woods, UFOs coming in and out of the lakes and the reservoirs in that area. There's a lot of reservoirs and lakes, and it's just so the whole area is a place of high strangeness, you know. So, I mean, everybody is drawn there for a reason. Whatever the creatures are, the aliens, the religious people, and they're all drawn there for a reason. It's because the energy there must be radiating like a bell or something, just ringing out.
It's very interesting also by your area, Chris. I've noticed this for years. It's not just where you are physically right now, but it goes into like, Bashmish Falls. Down that road, and it goes up past Hartford all the way up 44. There's it's like there's a center of like high strangeness in that area. You got the Bantam Lake. Well, it's within, and it's not just that one strip. It's miles off of the strip. There's like layers of weirdness that takes place, and your area happens to be super strange too. You know, especially if you go past where you live, you go down there and you get into like, did you just hear that?
Yeah, it's like a phone.
Yeah, it sounded like a phone. It was interesting. Wasn't my phone. Mine neither. Off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. We got freaking aliens here, man. But if you go down there, there used to be a restaurant. I think it's called, I forgot what it was, Coach and Four.
East Heartland.
And let me tell you something. To get to East Heartland, you go down this road and then you get to a certain point. I mean, it's a beautiful spot, but you don't want to do it in the winter because if you go off and you're going off this huge side of a cliff, and you're just going to make a spectacular splash. I think you know what I'm talking about. It's a couple of spots where it gets kind of hairy, and people have gone off of it. And
it's around the reservoir up there.
Yeah, and there's your water. Right. There's your water factor right there. Yeah. Every time I used to go up there, 44 to 22, whatever is in there, and it gets to that windy road that goes along the river, you know, that winds into that. That is so. Come on, tell me that's not like super Squatch. You're looking at like, dude, they live over here. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh yeah, we've been up in there for sure.
Oh yeah. So it's like. There's something about it. If we're drawn to it physically, they're going to be like, yeah, this is the spot. We're going to make camp here.
Right.
You know, Chaka, go get some stone.
I'm not laughing anymore. I carry holy water with me. I carry sage with me, and I carry stones with me now.
Good. Awesome.
Fire agate. fire agate. Go get a piece of that too.
All right.
It protects you from all negativity and bad stuff.
Okay.
And shit, if you need selenite, I got 5 pounds of it. I'll send you some. I'll bring it up to you.
I need a new selenite dealer.
Yeah.
You got the goods.
I got the goods right now. I got 'em right now.
All right, guys. Well, we've reached the end of our hour here. Now.
Oh wow, quick.
Yeah, it always goes quick with us.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
you guys got any? Give our viewers some advice. Just they can either take it or leave it. But give them some advice of how they should approach the woods to be safe and not have to experience the hitchhiker effect, because we all know what that's like, and it's not fun when your grandson comes up to you and says there's a shadow thing in your hallway of your basement. And you just stare at that.
Not good at all. Absolutely. And I just did a cleansing. It took me the whole weekend to do it. It was a huge home, and there was some dark stuff going on there. And I'm happy to report that it went well, and everything had two portals in the house and closed them both. And I'm happy to report everything went well. There were children involved there as well. So
yeah, that's scary. I saged and holy watered, and it all worked out very well. So, and did the St. Michael prayer, and went very well.
I mean,
so yeah, just give get some people some of the advice with just to be safe.
So if you really want to protect yourself, you don't get married. Other than that, I gotta be. There's a lot of people that don't have faith these days, and for whatever reason, if it's the cool thing or I don't believe it, I'm an atheist. I'm going to say you may want to try to find your faith, and if it's not God or Buddha or Christ or Allah or whatever, if it's a head of lettuce, well, find your faith, that belief system, and take it with you wherever you go. You really want to protect yourself with that. But I highly recommend carrying salt with you and putting that in your pockets. And those little salt packets, they give you the rest where you open them up, paper, and just grab them. Go to Chick-fil-A or whatever. They always have tons of them. Grab them, stick them in your pocket, stick them in your coat, stick them in your shoe, put them in your car. Salt has been a natural protective agent since the beginning of time. So that's what I would recommend to protect themselves.
What I would say is 2 things. Never go out with any subconscious fear, whether you're going squatching, hunt, Bigfooting, ghost hunting, or whatever. If you have any doubt in your mind about where you're going or what you're doing, don't go. Stay home. Never go out with subconscious. We never let anybody come with us who has subconscious fear. Our psychic reads everybody before we go on any investigation. Number 1. Number 2, when you do go, it's all about intent. So when you go out, your intent, again, doesn't matter if you're ghost hunting, your intent is to make contact, right? You want to make contact. You want to whistle. You want to whoop. You want a EVP. You want something. It's all about your intent. Go out there with good intentions, and good things will happen.
Oh, and don't forget number 3, which is if you are having a bad day, if you have a cold, you're sick or depressed or bummed out or suicidal, don't go in the woods. Don't go squatching. Don't go ghost hunting. Trust me, you're going to be raped by these things, and it's going to be really bad. Do not go. Save it. Walk away. I've been in positions. I've told Al we had a big investigation. I'm like, can't go. And it's part of it. It's not a cool thing. It's not a machismo. It's safety. It's 100% safe.
It's common sense. Use your common sense. Use your gut feelings. Everybody gets a gut feeling. I don't care whether you're psychic or not. Everybody gets gut feelings. Use your gut feelings. If you're going down a path and you get a feeling like you're not supposed to be there, there's something out there that's sending you that vibe, telling you not to go any further, to turn around and go home. Just do it. You could always go back another day. You could always go back tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow would be a better day to go down that path. So those are my suggestions.
Awesome. That was awesome. That was great advice. I recommend you guys listen to these guys. because they have 563 years of experience together. And
We
Brian
need a
has.
theme song too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to have it on here, and I erased it. I was looking for it. The Italian.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I'm very upset it's gone.
Maybe like no BPS, you know, something like that.
The only thing I got is this one now, I think. That's the only one I got. But thank you both for taking time out of your night.
Thank you, Chris.
And I will see you both backstage.
Fine.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Bronxville Paranormal Society.
Be safe.
Yep.
See you guys soon. All right. Thanks to the Bronxville Paranormal Society. They're two of my really good friends, Brian and Alan. I turn to them for a lot of stuff. As you all know, I've had a lot of strange stuff that's happened in the last couple of years, and these guys have definitely helped me through a lot of it. I just want to say thanks for everybody for keeping it cool in the chat. Seen a couple new people, and I'd like to say welcome to them, and thanks for your support. Next week's show, I'm still waiting to hear back from my guest, but there will be a show. I will have somebody on. I have backups coming too, with backups ready to be on. But next week's show, I am waiting to hear back from him. So thank you all again for showing up for both shows tonight. There was a couple of people here that were both shows tonight. Double Shot Tuesday. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. And you know what's next? As Larry says, get in the woods, people.